Thank you all. Wonderful, thank you. Well, hi. I'm having all the feels today. I don't know when that saying got started, but it's a good one. When you're having all the feels. Mother's Day is sometimes a tough holiday. It's a happy one for me because I still have my mother and I have my children. But I know that among us, there are motherless children, and there are mothers who lost their children too soon. And so it's also a holiday that's a little bit poignant. And I just want to name that here today because it deserves to be named. That it's sometimes a day of remembrance that tugs at us. So let's just say that. And if you have some tears today, it's fine. And whether they're tears of joy or tears of grief or tears of regret, this is a safe place to have them. So do. But I also hope that you will laugh. And I hope that you will allow your heart to be expanded today. Since Friday, I've been in a very reflective mood after Lori's service, seeing a mother losing her daughter much too soon in life and leaving behind a little boy who's not quite 9 years old. That just doesn't make sense to us, does it? And yet, there was such a celebration of love and such an honoring of Lori and such an acknowledgement of all the gifts that she brought to all of us in her 50 years of life. And I want to echo my gratitude to all of our beautiful congregants, volunteers who were here that day, who wrapped this place up in love. To Leah, who is behind everything. I'm going to clap for Leah. Yay. And to Taylor and to Seth and to Deirdre. Boy, if you ever need some music to celebrate a part of your life, Deirdre will play the cello for you. She will play it with her whole heart. And I probably left people out, but it was such, this place was wrapped up in love on Friday, and it was a blessing to be a part of it. And then I found out first thing when I woke up this morning, because my phone would not shut up, that my niece delivered her first child last night in Portland, a little girl named Destiny. And she's the first grandchild in our, I didn't get a chance to tell you guys yet. So Kaylee had her baby. She's the first grandchild in my generation of siblings. Not in a hurry for any more right away. And my parents' first great-grandchild. So it's a real day of celebration for Kaylee. So again, we have joy and sorrow sharing the same table, and how rich our life is because of it. Because we can laugh through our tears, and because we can know that our sorrow is fleeting, as is our joy, but it's overall a joyful journey. And if you're not having a joyful journey, in your life, let's talk. Let's find out what it is that can be moved beyond where you are right now so that your journey might be joyful. And that's kind of what we've been about in the classes that we've been doing that Brian mentioned a little bit earlier. Hi, I'm Jill Carey. Very nice to meet you, Bruce. Thanks, Bruce. It happens. If it hadn't happened to you yet. Please stand by. It's always been my habit, I guess, through all the years to talk about the divine feminine on Mother's Day. And I love to talk about the divine feminine. I love to talk about the aspects of God that are nurturing and that are the gestational parts of our ideas and our growth in life, that which comforts us, you know. I love to talk about that. And then on Father's Day, I talk about masculine energy, about the way that we take non-aggressive but sure action in our lives. Through the years, though, I've begun to think that if we focus too much on the divine feminine and the divine masculine, then we run the risk of creating God in our own image and likeness. Just because, well, we can't even say we're binary anymore, can we? We're really not. And so we risk creating God into something that it is not. We also risk confining masculinity and femininity. And I don't think it's good to do either one of those things. So they've started to become more integrated in my mind and in my heart, because I know so many tender and nurturing men. I know so many fierce and earthy and grounded women. And I know I've got an amener out there, and I really, really appreciate it. And I see us, especially in this congregation, in this unique community that we talked about, having our collective consciousness. I see us, and see my fingers are all woven together here, I see us becoming more and more balanced in expressing the aspects of God that we understand deeper and deeper and deeper every day. So I will talk about some of that feminine energy today because it is Mother's Day, and because that part is necessary for us to begin to start those changes in our lives. And so I would just ask you to reflect that if it wasn't your mother who raised you or your father who raised you, was it some other maternal figure in your life that said to you, honey, you're going to be okay. Honey, you can do whatever you want to do. Honey, I believe in you. And if you did not have that person in your life, you have a community of people who will say that. I've witnessed it. You have a God of all creation who will reinforce that in you. You are okay. You can do and be whoever and whatever you want to be. There is no limit on you. And I will cradle you and protect you and germinate those ideas within you. I will do that. What's really lovely is that we can reach out to a partner somewhere in our lives to say, will you support me? May we support each other mutually in our common growth. And so on Wednesday night, we talked about goal setting. And goal setting sounded so utilitarian for a Sunday morning that I called it visioning, but it's really about goal setting. I did a bait and switch on you, I guess, so, but it's all kind of the same thing, because we started out in our class Wednesday night talking about, I'd like to take this trip, I'd like to do this thing, I'd like to do that thing, and then we got down into some really deep places, didn't we, people that were here that night? We got down into some deep places, and we got vulnerable with each other, and we saw that when we're vulnerable with each other, everyone else rushes in to support us. Or else, how would they know? How is somebody going to know what it is that frightens us or embarrasses us unless we say it? Then we can move through it. And I'm also proposing something else while I'm thinking of it. This isn't my original idea, but I like it. That we take this period of time between Mother's Day and Father's Day as kind of a period like Lent. And I'm so proud that I said that word not like a Texan. Which sounds like something that comes out of your dryer. So, let's look at this period of time as Lent, in which if we still have any unhealed issues with mom and dad, with family of origin, with losses, disappointments, abuse, whatever is yet unhealed, let us go deeply into that place of healing. Let's have some resolution to those things in life that are not yet resolved. Shall we?
Yes. Amen, sister.
Thank you.
And brother.
And brother. We could do that. We could do that with each other. Now, in all of the people that spoke on Wednesday night and all those who didn't, we started looking at the things that might scare us, but they're things that we really, really want to do. And once the mind started working in the direction of going beyond our fear to do something, all sorts of ideas that maybe got buried a long time ago started coming up for people. Oh, I always wanted to do this. I always wanted to be this person. I always wanted to express this or try this new thing. So we're helping each other out with that. And one of the things that we're doing is taking those ideas, those goals, if you will, and we're keeping them quiet within us for a while so that energy gathers around them. And Mother God nurtures them and waters them and begins to shine the sun upon them as they break through the earth. And that's how we use that aspect of God. There will be a time for activity. There will be a time to take a first step. And there will be that aspect of God that says, yes, now. And that aspect of God that says, you can do this. Do you see how well those balance each other? There's another thing that we talked about doing. And for those of you that came to the new member orientation last week, you saw this on our film, What is New Thought? And then it's also in our 4 spiritual laws of prosperity that we're studying about having a period of 21 days in which we do not complain about things. You laugh. You laugh. So you've probably seen some of it on our resource page. And by the way, if you're not part of the Unity of Wimberley resource page, just go to that page and make a request, and we'll add you on. It's kind of our community bulletin board. And so, seriously, some of us have started wearing little elastic bands. Some people are using little hair things. I don't know from those now, but those little elastics. Some people are just using a wide rubber band. This is not for snapping yourself like that smoking aversion therapy. It's not about that. But it's about if you find yourself complaining about something, you get to take it off, put it on the other wrist, and start over your 21 days. Yeah, I notice you're laughing differently now. Ha ha ha. And one person brave enough to post and said, yep, literally made it 10 minutes before I had to switch. I have found little bands in the church, on the floor, where they have been tossed to the ground till they're ready to be picked up and worn again. This is not an easy exercise. It started with a minister that I actually had the privilege of being on his licensing and ordination review team when he was going through ministerial school. And he was a dynamo. And he's gone into ministry, and those of you who have seen the New Thought film, his name is Will Bowen, and he started the Complaint-Free World. And they actually, when they got to the 6 millionth bracelet, 6 million people wearing purple Complaint-Free World bracelets, he had an affirmation to present that one to Dr. Maya Angelou. Did not know her, didn't know anybody who knew her, didn't know anybody who knew somebody who knew her. And yet, with his affirmative holding that he would present that 6 millionth bracelet to her, he had a chance to go meet her and give it to her. Now, if you guys would like to do that as a community, first, let me just tell you what the benefits might be. The benefits might be that we become, more conscious about our thoughts and what comes out of our mouths. Luckily, the complaint-free world only applies to the words that come out of your mouth. So you get a little bit of a break. But also what comes with that is this little lock that is self-imposed to keep those words from coming out of your mouth. And you begin to notice how much you get irritated and speak it. How much you don't like something or somebody and you speak it. How much, can you think of how many ways that you would complain during the day? Now, what happens if we practice this with each other? I really wasn't intending to talk about this long, but what happens if we practice this is that we become a little softer. We discover that when our mind isn't filled up with complaining, guess what we have room for? We have more room for the good stuff. We have more room for creative imagination. We have more room for loving. We have more room for giving ourselves and everybody else a break. We have more room for our creative and good impulses to make their way into the world. And when that happens, we begin to see the world a little bit differently. We begin to see it a little bit softer. Our lens has a softer focus through which we're looking at the world, instead of looking at it through a haze of red or through blinders. We begin to look at the world with a little more sweetness. So I looked on the website last night just to see if the bracelets are still available, and they are. So if you think that this is an experiment that we could all do with each other, are you ready? Yes. Well, that wasn't exactly unanimous, but... Carol, what is it? Yes, is that your hand up? Who else? Who else? Okay, I'm seeing some people do this. That counts. It counts if you do this. Let's see them. Are you ready to go ahead? Are you ready to go ahead in this wonderful, energetic place that we have to send the energy into a spin? Are you ready to let this be a beacon that reaches out beyond us, beyond all the people we know, out into the city, just like Molly's prayer this morning, so that we begin to change the consciousness of the world, starting right here? Yes. Man, I have some chill bumps. And I'm kind of excited about this idea. Why not? Why not? And you know what? You don't get a big prize if you make it 21 days. As a matter of fact, if you make it to day 20, watch out. Because you know what's supposed to happen is after 21 days, then you start another 21 days. We can get plenty of bracelets if they break. You know what I mean? I have had a couple of people tell me that they're afraid to put it on. But Chip Slade, I just lost this page. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Chip posted this morning. And Chip, I want to thank you because that was you were a beautiful example of what I was talking about. Where are you? Okay, thank you. Of kind of that, you drove a golf cart the color of my shirt and shuttled people to a funeral. How sweet is that? And then rode your Harley in. I saw you. Eckhart Tolle. See if you can catch yourself complaining in either speech or thought about a situation you find yourself in, what other people do or say, your surroundings, your life situation, even the weather. To complain is always non-acceptance of what is. It invariably carries an unconscious negative charge. When you complain, you make yourself a victim. Leave the situation or accept it. All else is madness. It's on the resource page. I'm going to print it out, stick it up on my mirror, put it in my office, put it in my car. So let's go back. Besides not complaining, besides not doing that, let's look at you taking goals in your life that that you would like to do. Maybe just one thing. You know, I think they call it ghosting. I ghosted somebody. I just stopped having contact with them. And it wasn't right. And I need to make that right. I'm confessing it right here in front of this whole crowd and everybody watching online. I need to make that I need to finish that communication. I need to make it right. And so I'm saying it to you because you'll hold me accountable. And I confided in one other person about some other things that I know I need to take care of in my life that I've been procrastinating about. And I know that I have her unconditional support to get it done. So what you do, this might be a dream that you've had that you've ignored for a while. It might be unfinished business. It might be an incomplete communication. It might be something scary that you think you can't do, but you'd like to burst through your fear. So you identify what that thing is. You write it down. You repeat it in the morning, in the evening, in the morning, in the evening. You could do that for 21 days. You see yourself doing it, and then you take your first step. In a nutshell, that's how we start to change the world. So, draw on that feminine energy that says, you can do this. I gotcha. You can do this. Draw on that this Mother's Day. Is there somebody, living or not, that you would like to make proud? Is there somebody that's on this earth or somewhere beyond that you would like to say, look what I'm doing? And I do this in honor of you. Then do that. Do it for yourself. Because it's the next thing. Don't stop doing the next thing. I found a reading called, it's about the prayers of women. And it's about the prayers of spring. And spring is the time of the wisdom seeker. And so this is called the white shell woman in ancient stories. The white shell woman. She is transmutation. She transforms. She is rebirth. She is patient. She is a builder. She is a weaver. She is a messenger. All of those words are aspects of you, beloved. Of you. And so here's your homework. In our Wednesday night class, we're doing several goals. I'm going to have you pick just one. Just one. That is a sacred thing that carries you a little bit farther. One thing. And I can guarantee you that during this time I've been talking, something came up and you said, no, not that. Yep, that'd be the thing. That would be it. And I want you to wrap it up in Mother God's love. Wrap it up. Let the energy build around it. Let it be transmuted into something that is going to enrich your life and enhance your contribution to the world. Because you are more of you. You are more of your God self. Wrap that love around it. Hold it like something precious. See yourself doing it. Envision yourself doing it. Act as if you are accomplishing it. And then listen for the voice that says, now. Your first word will be, yes. And then you'll hear the word, now. And then go forth and do that thing. That's how we're going to become bigger and richer and more transformative for the world. So if you're afraid, if you need to talk it through, give me a call. We'll see what we can do, because it's going to be pretty much anything. Okay? How about we pray? Loving Spirit, we surrender our hearts and our minds, our busy, busy minds that get caught up in judging and deciding things about the world that may or may not be true. Our minds that get caught up in judging ourselves and telling ourselves things that may or may not be true.